All right. All right. Good evening, good friends. Good evening, everyone. I'm really glad to be here. I'm really glad to be taking you guys on subjects government. Right? Government is a very wide subject. Government is subject that covers a wide area of life, and you should understand that no matter what you do, it still boils down to government. What I mean is, it still boils down to regulations and policies, laws and rules made by government. All right. So if where you find yourself is going to be very good, if you're going to do very well, it has to do with government policies and all that. All right. We don't have more time to waste. Your organization, just in your street, in your area, in your home, your neighbors, invite them, talk to them about the classes that we'll be having. Give them that notification, let them be aware that knowledge is very key, knowledge is very power, and they can't afford to miss classes. All right, for the sake of your exam, for knowledge sake, and also for the sake of your future. All right. Um, Today I'll be taking us on introductory class, how to do it, introduction to government. We'll be looking at the definition of government. We'll be looking at the breakdown. And break it down is into three aspects. We also be looking at the basic concept of government. All right. We will not be wasting much time. And so I will start with definition of government. One thing you should understand that there is no outright definition of government. In fact, most concepts don't have an outright definition. All right, most of these concepts are based on one's opinion, one's understanding. All right, so that is why you understand that there is no knowledge that can be faulted. There is no definition that can be faulted. All right, so whatever definition you give, it's subject to your own opinion, and that is your own opinion. So there's no fault about it. However, people may want to criticize that no, that is not what it should be, but that is their own, understanding. All right, so we are meant to understand that government is a system or group of people, governing an organized community, generally a state. All right. So in government, you should understand that whenever you talk about a state, you are talking about a country. All right. So that is what makes you different from every other person. Now you may come out and say, "Oh, Nigeria is a state," or the state of Nigeria. Someone will be like, "Oh, are you talking about Lagos State? Are you talking about Oyo State or wherever?" All right. So someone in your field, you understand you're talking about a particular, you're talking about Nigeria as a whole. All right. So some people may address it as a country, some even call it as a nation. All right. So it varies. But whenever I hear a state, in government, it means a country, except it is abstractly stated. All right, that it is this particular state or this particular state. Okay. So like I said, there's no absolute definition. So it depends on the kind of definition you are giving. But however, you should be able to understand that no matter the definition you are giving, it should be channeled towards it should be channeled towards something. All right. So it should have a focus towards something. There are some elements there must be there. There are some elements that should not be missing. Okay. So for instance, now when we talk about government, you can see that government can be defined as an academic field of study. You can discuss it in academic field of study. You can discuss it in the form of as an art of governing. You can also discuss it as an institution of the state. All right. So let's go with first of all, let's go with as an academic field of study. So what that entails is that, for instance, now the government we are doing here, this is the essence is for academic knowledge. All right, for school, maybe to pass your exam, for general knowledge. It boils down to academy. All right. So this is aspect that says that government as an academic field of study. So it is a field that people study. All right. So this is government people study. So even in higher levels, is a field, is a course that people study. Right. Some people maybe master's program. Some will tell you that they're studying politics and something like that, administration, government administration, or something like that. So it's an academic field of study. Is a field, just like they are doing now. You're taking sub government as a subject. So it is a field, it's an academic field of study. All right. So I talk about government as an art of governing. I said from the beginning that no matter what you do, It boils down to policies, regulations, and laws and rules. That is government as an part of government. So every state is being ruled, is being governed by a government. All right. So the body, the government, we call it a government. All right. So government can also be discussed in that way. All right, as an act of government. The first, the government is the subject, is an academic field of study. The second one is not saying that it's an act of government. Okay, so government, you are governing. Okay, now the fourth one saying that as an institution of the state. Now that one is likely is said to be a politically organized group of people inhabiting a defined territory with a legitimate government. All right. Now, if you look at it, there are some concepts that you will pick out from there. You look at the aspect of organized group of people. You talk about a defined territory. You talk about a legitimate government. So what it means is that there are people. All right. Now, these people are occupying a certain territory. Okay, and the people and that territory is being governed or is being ruled by a legitimate government, a government that has the concept of the people to rule them. All right, this is not government that came in by force or by whatever means. So this is government that has the concept and the authority of the people to rule them, to govern them. All right, so government, you break it down into three ways. The first one is an academic field of study. Second one is an act of government. The third one is as an institution of the state. All right, so this is a state. So it is the government that will regulate that state. So it has become an institution of the state. Okay, so you have to understand these three concepts to have a solid ground on knowledge about government. All right. So you should also understand that in government, you are talking about levels of government. You can talk about arms or levels of government. You talk about the legislature, the judiciary, you talk about the executive arm. Okay, so you understand the order of which are coming from the legislature, executive, and judiciary. You understand that the legislature makes the law, executive implement the law, and then judiciary interprets the law. So what it's saying is that in every government, definitely there will always be those that make the law. There will always be those that will implement the law, and there will always be those that will interpret the law. Now, tracing back to history, going back to history, there was a time that one arm of government was implementing the law and at the same time interpreting the law. All right. So as time went by, so they have to come up with the reasoning that come on, this is not fair and this will not be good and this will not, it's not be great. So there is a need for G, but then let's limit it. Let's come back. So when we get to arms and levels of government, we will deal with all these aspects. Okay, so government is legitimate. Government cannot just come up, or people cannot just come up and say we are the government. No. So it has to be regulated by a constitution. Right? So so about the constitution. So the constitution is a guide to the act of the government. That's why Nigeria, you see that the constitution, Nigeria constitution is a ground norm. What it means is action. As the constitution also saying that if those laws are inconsistent, if they are not, if they are inconsistent with the provisions of the constitution, it will be null and void. Okay, so those laws must they draw their inner law. Anybody that wants to make law must make sure that those laws are in line with the provisions of the constitution. It's not saying that they must be word for word or whatever. What it's saying is that the constitution preaches about equality, freedom. All right. So whatever concept of equality, that concept of freedom, all right, that concept of okay, so that's like some laws will come in, they'll tell you that no, this law is against the constitution, it has negated the provisions of the constitution. There are people that they call lawyers, those ones. Now each government comes up with a policy. All right, like I said from the beginning, no matter what you do in life, as far as you do in territory, in a country, government has a policy that is regulating you, influencing you, or anything you want to do. So that's why many people want to be in government. All right. Okay. So now from here, now we'll go to the basic, concept of government. The first one we are to deal with is power. Um, Looking at it, power generally is the ability to do something. All right. So ability to influence the behavior of others. When I talk about power. All right. So that's the ability to influence, your ability to do something. All right. Without resistance. Okay. So there are so many. You talk about economic power. Economic power has to do with your money, your wealth. Talk about physical power, your strength. Talk about political power. The power you get as a result of being a leader, a result of being a political leader. All right. So it comes in various ways. So we have this ability to influence. You have this ability to do something without resistance and all that. So also have to do with your capacity. All right. So the direct influence you have on people's behavior. So, like I said, I spoke about the economic power, political power, physical power, and other ones too. All right. So this power, they came. One physical power may come as a result of your strength. You are very strong. You can beat people. So okay, we submit ourselves to you. Okay. Like trace back to history. In the olden days, it was always like that. The strongest man rules the community. The strongest man rules the area. The strongest man, So that's the power. Talking about economic power, your money. What ability can your money have? How far can it go? All right. So we talk about political power, the power I have as a result of the political post you are putting. All right. So it comes in various ways. Power that comes from the military. Most times it's always force. Okay, it's always force. It's the military, you must obey or not by force. All right, if it's by political power, you may still want to see maybe in civil society, yeah, democratic society, do know what the constitution says. All right, so, but then military power is by force, so you must obey. There's no there's no argument about that. So um, you must respect yourself. Okay, all right. So let's go to rights. Now, see, rights. When we talk about rights, so when I talk about rights, in rights, you're talking about your entitlement, the principles of freedom, entitlement. So it immediately boils down to the word entitlement. All right. So, it's majorly fundamental to civil societies. I mean, civilized societies. All right. But now in democratic society, you can talk about right to life, right to freedom of movement, right to speech. In fact, in recent movement now trends and accusations, you see that people are saying that the government is making policies that is against their freedom of expression. Okay, that is against their right to express themselves, freedom of this, freedom of that. All right. So you talk about rights in a democratic setting, in a democratic society. In a military setting, you don't talk about rights to an extent, right? Because everything is done by force. So there's no right to, there's no much right. Okay. Now, for instance, talk about look at the constitution. We're just talking about right to life. You have the right to life, right to freedom of expression, right to movement. You have the right to move from anywhere. But because that you can move from anywhere. Someone in the east can own a property in the south or the north, anywhere. So that is right. Okay, that's coming to you as a result of the constitution. All right. So you also have right of association. Okay. So you have the right to join any association that you want. Okay. So you have the right to association that you want. These are some of the rights. They are entitlements. Okay. Don't forget that it's operative majorly in a democratic society. Okay. So in the military society, you may not talk about rights. Okay. Now from here we move to authority. So authority is the use of power that is seen as legitimate or approved. Legitimate authority is that which is recognized as legitimate and justified by both the ruler and the ruled. Also the power to enforce it. Now, what it's saying is this: right is different from authority. Now, right is your entitlement. Like I said, it may come by nature, or it may also come as a result of government policies. Okay, so authority is saying that now the people that you rule, or let's assume you are the leader. Okay, so these people that you rule, they've given you authority, they've given you like power to govern them, they've given you power to make policies and rules that will regulate them. Okay, so that is authority. Now, authority boils down to the fact that there must be an agreement between the ruler and the rule. Okay, so authority does not come if it's not being given to you by the rule. I mean, by the people. All right. So, for instance, if you're the president, definitely you have an authority over Nigeria. So, it is being given to you by Nigerians through election. You are being voted into power. So, authority has been given to you. Okay. So now we talk about legal authority. The form of authority with legitimate depends on formal rules and established legal. Legal. Okay. So anything legal must come from a source that is recognized, probably the constitution and uh, uh, yeah, the constitution or any other rule. But since the constitution is the ground norm, it must come from the constitution. So it boils down to aspects of rules. All right, rules, legitimate, develop formal rules and established laws of the state, which are usually written down. So the constitution, obviously, Nigerian constitution, for example, is written. Please, hello sir, just pause it, please. Hello sir. Okay, so as I was talking about legal authority, now legal authority, it has to come from a rule, that has to come from a law, all right? And that law must be written. Okay, don't forget that we have written constitution, we have a written constitution. But Nigeria as a country practices written constitution. All right, it is written and it is rigid. Rigid in the sense that the process of amendment is very strict and cumbersome. All right, so it's very strict and cumbersome. So so if you're if you're talking about written or legal constitution, legal authority, it must come from a rule or a law. All right. So what it means is that every act of the ruler must be traceable to something that is written. All right. So every act of the ruler must be traceable to something that is written. Now, for instance, let's assume the president says that okay, Nigerians are no longer going to have freedom of expression. People can easily say no. The constitution made provision for freedom of expression. So that is legal authority. The authority that leader has is traceable to something or traceable to an established law. So that means that it is a law or an act that establishes that authority. Don't forget that in making a law, laws are being made by legislatures. And it is the citizens or the people that elect these legislatures. So what it means is that for a president to have a legal authority, the legislatures that have made those laws. And since they are the one that made those laws, they made those laws on behalf of the people. All right? So it must be to something that is written. Now, talk about traditional rulers. They derive from long established custom, habits, and social structures. When power passes from one generation to another, it is not a traditional authority. Now, talk about tradition. Tradition is not something that will just come up overnight, or it's not something that we just met. It has been unfolding from, it has been moving from generations to generation. Some people tell that this is our tradition, there's nothing you can do about it. Our forefathers handed it over to us. All right? So authority or traditional authority comes as a result of established customs and rules and traditions. Now, for instance, it may be a custom in a particular community or in a particular village that the king will have to marry 4 wives, or the king, or they must take part, or they must carry out New Yam festival or whatever festival every year. Okay, so what it means is that this thing is being given to us by our forefathers. So the king has also, okay, let's take it this way. Now, so custom may say that, okay, the king, when New Yam is coming out, the king has the right or the power to declare, New Yam festival. So if you look at that authority was actually transferred to that king from forefathers. All right. So, and it will continue that way. So traditional authority comes as a result of custom and tradition. And as time goes by, in this in our classes, we are going to understand what it means by custom, what do you mean by tradition. All right. So you also understand that some of these custom and traditions are already already going into extinction because of civilization, bringing up and all that. So bringing from other countries, so okay, it's better than our own customs and all that. All right. So now let's talk about charismatic authority. Um, when I say someone is charismatic, is say charismatic leader, it's as a result of the let's say the influence, or rather we can say the leadership quality of that person. All right, is charismatic leader or is charismatic. He has charisma. He has this kind of, this kind of, behavior that makes him. Some people now, for instance, some people once they enter any place, naturally they start coordinating. Naturally, people start respecting them. Naturally, people start, recognizing the fact that they have qualities. All right, so he has this kind of charisma. He has this kind of authority that people, he has kind of influence that people recognizes. All right. So whatever he does, now if you observe, when that happened, people will quickly give the best authority. For instance, maybe your class, when you resume for the first time in your new class, or when you just first time you went to school, I think one was that would have tried to organize you guys, like try to organize you, and you look at this person, be like, okay, maybe your class repship is by election or whatever. Maybe it's by election. So as a result of that person conduct in organizing people, say do this, don't do this. When it's time for election, you say nominate. You observe that everybody nominate that person, or most people nominate that person. Okay, because that person has this charisma that makes him, to stand out. Okay. Now, yeah, from here we move to legitimacy. What do you mean by legitimacy? It is the belief that a room, institution, or leader has the right to govern. It is the judgment by an individual about the rightfulness of a hierarchy of a hierarchy between rule or ruler and its subjects, and about the subordinate obligations towards the rule or the ruler. Right now, let's talk about legislation. Legislation is the process by which one strives to create, legitimacy for rule or ruler. Now, what legitimacy is saying is that when it says something is legitimate, it is genuine, it is authentic, all right? It is authentic, it is genuine, it is from a rightful source. All right. So this government is legitimate. That means that this government is from a rightful source. And what is the rightful source? Rightful source is the people. That means that this government did not come into power through coup, not dubious way. They came in through the rightful medium. Okay, talking about legitimate government. The government is legitimate government. The government came in through the right medium. All right. So now from here we move to sovereignty. Okay. Now, even I was defining government as an institution of the state, politically organized group of people inhabiting a defined territory with a legitimate government. What by sovereignty? Sovereignty is the supreme authority within a territory, but the institution has ultimate authority to rule. All right. Now, what sovereignty is this? It is a supreme authority within a territory. Now, you might have heard several times that people saying that Nigeria is a sovereign state. That means that Nigeria has this supreme authority. Now, you can't say the whole of Nigerians. What you will say is, the supreme authority must be conferred on certain people. Now, who are these certain people? You call them the government. All right. So Nigeria is a sovereign state. So what it means is that no any other states can come into Nigeria without the consent of Nigeria government. Now, for instance, if you look at these recent issues that are called DSS going to state and all that, so that some government came up and said that okay, now before DSS should come to any state, they should inform the state governor. All right. So the state governors are they are the number one leaders, they are the number one citizen in that indigenous or in that state. So they believe that even though Nigeria is a legitimacy in Nigeria, the state is under Nigeria, the state governor still has the supreme authority over the states. Okay, so what they are saying is that you can't, they term it as invasion. You can't invade our state without consent from us. But with the way Nigeria is structured, they are saying, look, at least inform us. But bringing that to Nigeria as a country, you can't enter Nigeria as another country, maybe to do something or the other without the consent of Nigeria government. Now, there are so many issues on extradition, extradition, extradite someone from Europe to Nigeria, extradite someone from Nigeria to Europe for one crime or the other. Now, if there is no sovereignty, these people have gone to that country to pick the person. But sovereignty makes it recognize that, oh, we have to notify the government of these people. And notifying them doesn't mean that we should come in and pick the person. There is a process. There is a laid down process. So sovereignty is the supreme authority within a territory. And that supreme authority is conferred on a government. Okay? So sovereignty of the government of the territory and is conferred on a government. All right? So you must understand that no country has the right to enter into another country without consent or without consent or notification. As I look at international bodies, there are boundaries, there are territories, there are rules, there are laws, guiding international bodies, guiding countries all over the world, and look at what is happening in the world powers. All right, so you discover that when a particular country, power in the country wants to enter into another country, or maybe just is spying on another country, you see that country sending another warplane, warning that plane that is spying or sending the plane off. Most times they send them off. It happens in warship too on high seas, on seas, trying to enter another country territory without consent. Okay, they will send you off. They will give you warning. At times they give you warning. If you not leave, decide to bomb and all that. All right. So we're here now. We talk about the society. So generally we understand that society is a group of individuals involved in social interaction. All right. Society has to do with individuals. So where you find yourself, that's the society, and that is involving interactions. Okay. So there are interactions between you and every other member of society. Besides just your environment, it includes your family, other families, your friends, and so many other ones. So there is an interaction. So that is society. Almost most time you hear something like the society where you find yourself, or society where we find ourselves. What I mean is that the environment, the group of people we find ourselves with, all right, the group of people we mingle with, and those kind of things. So that is society, your environment, the place where you find yourself. All right. So for here now, we move to nation. Now do not forget that country, you have a country, you have a state, you have a nation. Some people will call a country country, some will call it a state, some will call it a nation. All right. So now, but the nation we are looking at here is we're looking at a nation within a country. We're looking at a group within a country. All right. So a nation is a community of people formed on the basis of a common language, history, ethnicity, a common culture, and in many cases, a shared territory. A nation is a collective identity of people. A nation is more overtly political than an ethnic group. It has been described as a fully mobilized, institutionalized ethnic group. Some nations are equated with ethnic groups, and some are equated with an affiliation with a social and political constitution. Okay. Like I said, some address a country as a nation. Maybe head of like African Cup of Nations. All right. So some are calling it a nation. Some will also call a particular ethnic group a nation as a result of common language and shared cultures, rights, and other things. So generally a country is addressed as a nation. All right. So then we also have ethnic groups that could be addressed as nation. All right. So there's like Yoruba nation, Igbo nation, Hausa nation. All right. That is because of their uh, shared culture, common language. All right. So all those things, you because of those attributes, they call them nation. All right. Do not forget, a country can be addressed as a nation because you have Nigeria as a country. We can also have nations within Nigeria, talking about the Yoruba nation, Igbo nation, Hausa nation, because of the shared attributes, talking about the culture, talking about the language, talking about the history. All right. Now, even within the nation, there are still some, diversities. All right. So it's wider, it's wide, but just have the understanding that the country is addressed as a nation. Even within a country, we also have nations within countries. All right. So now from here we move to institutionalization. Talk about institutionalization has to do with the way individuals learn and frequently internalize a political lens, framing their perception of how power is arranged and how the world around them is organized. All right. Socialization, we are trying to, you are familiarizing yourself with the society. You are knowing what is happening in society. All right. You are knowing how power is shared. You are knowing how this is done in society. You are knowing how this government does this, or even your friends, your group of friends and those people. You are knowing how the policies of government influences the society. Okay. So you are trying to socialize yourself politically. You are trying to socialize yourself with government policies, government activities. All right. So you are getting to know the activities and what they do. All right. So that to do with the way individual internalizes with political, perception, with political activities, with political policies, with the political opinions, what is happening in our society. All right. So so here now we move to political participation. Now, not everybody participates in politics. Definitely, you see some people will be like, "I'm not a politician. I don't like politics. I can't participate in politics. As long as it's over my dead body." All right. So political participation refers to voluntary activities undertaken by the masses to influence public policy, either directly or by affecting the selection of persons who make policies. Now, you participate in politics in various ways. All right. Now, you voting on election, you are participating in politics. In politics, you voicing your opinion about politics, you are participating. All right. But then we're going to have to do with your selection of leaders. Okay. Now, this participation will be directly or indirectly. One way or the other, you're participating in politics. Even those that say they don't participate in politics, one way or the other, they are participating in politics. All right. But just that they are not active. You know, we have those that are very active in politics, how those that are not active in politics. All right. So it includes you voting on election, it includes you helping a political campaign, campaigning, donating money to a candidate. Of course, the election is coming now by 2023. You see that some people will donating money to a particular candidate. All right. Contacting officials, petitioning, protesting, working with other people on issues. All right. There are a lot of petitions that comes up every day against political or government officials. All right. So in one way or the other, you are participating in politics. Now, participation in electoral processes is more than you voting. Okay. It has to do with your ability to speak, to assemble, to take part in corners of public affairs, an opportunity to register as a candidate to campaign and all that, like I said before. All right. So participation in politics comes in various ways. There's no particular way. I'm voting, you're participating, I'm talking, you're participating, I'm campaigning, you're participating, I'm donating, you're participating, I'm helping them in politics or do one thing or another, you're participating in politics. All right. So now talk about political culture. Political culture. What political culture does not refer to said the notion of political culture does not refer to attitude towards specific actors, such as presidents or prime minister, but rather it denotes how people view the political system as a whole and their belief in its legitimacy. So what he's saying is that now, first of all, you have to look at culture. What do you understand by culture? Culture has to do with your the way you conduct yourself in a society. All right. Now you bring it into politics. Okay. You say that it is how people view political system as a whole and their belief in its legitimacy. Now, when you say it is our culture, culture is maybe something. Give order and meaning to a political process, which provides. Okay, so let's talk about political culture. All right, so let's talk about political culture. Okay, now when I talk about political culture, first of all, you have to understand what is culture itself. What is culture? Like when we spoke about political socialization. Now, if you understand what is socialization, adding political to it is not is going to give you a very good platform, a very good straightforward idea, a very good straightforward answer, straightforward opinion. All right, straightforward view about what by political socialization. Now, understand culture, then add political to it. All right. So that's that culture. When I say this is our culture, it is our way of life. It is our belief. It is our system. This is our culture. This is how it is being done. Some people say that it is our culture to it is our culture to eat yam every Saturday. It is our culture to have New Year festival every September. All right. So political culture, it has to do with your whole belief, okay, about the political system. All right. So, what is our culture politically in Nigeria? What is our culture politically in Nigeria? All right. So, political culture, it is not about one-sided or maybe one side, this side or this side. It has to do with the general belief, general practice of our political system in Nigeria. So, we have political culture. Now, political culture is a set of attitudes. Just look at these pointers. Attitudes, beliefs, and sentiments which give order and meaning to a political process and which provide the underlying assumptions and rules that govern behavior in the political system. Very straightforward. Very, very straightforward. Just once you can get those pointers, it's attitudes, belief, and underlying sentiments. Which give rise to political process and assumption that govern our behavior. Culture has to do with your behavior. Political culture, that has to do with the belief we have about politics. There's a political belief we have in Nigeria. Now, we now have the breakdown of political culture. We have the parochial. It's where citizens are only remotely aware of the presence of central government and live their life near enough regardless of decision taking. Now, there are this set of people that, fine, we know that Nigeria has a government, but they don't care about what Nigeria do. Whether they make politics, they don't care. Whether I don't make politics, they don't care. But all they know that Nigeria has the president, they know Nigeria has the government. So what I'm saying as subjects. You guys said where citizens are aware of central government and are heavily subjected to decision with little scope for dissent. The individual is aware of politics, its actors and others. It is effectively oriented towards politics, yet it is on the downflow. Now, what it's saying is this: subject is saying that there are this set of people that the decision, they know that government is existing. Whatever decision that government makes, we affect them. They will abide by it, but they will not participate in politics. But they will not take part in activities. Look at the first set of people, they are aware. They don't take part. Nothing happens to them. They don't care. This second one, saying that they are aware. Government make policies. They follow those policies. They obey those policies, but they don't participate in government. Now, the third one is saying that the participants, citizens that influence the government in various ways and they are affected by it. Now, the participants are, they make the rules, they influence the government, and those policies also affect them. The first ones are parochial. Those ones, they don't care. Whether government is existing, the politics that is there is not a problem. Okay? Even their awareness of the government is not serious. They are just aware by the way. I think government is there. They don't know if government is, they're not 100% sure. But I think government is there. Second one is saying subject. Subject is saying that we know government is there. We obey their rules, we obey their policies, but we are not participating. The third one is saying participants. This one, we know government is there. We will obey their rules, and in fact, we are the one making the rules and we obey those rules. Okay, so there are three classifications. So, run through it, and you understand that what we treated today is introductory. That is the cover for week 1. Very simple, very direct. Just relax your mind. Government is very simple, very understanding, and very great. Okay, so there is no issue when it comes to understanding the concept of government. Just understand the fact that no matter what you do, it has a connection, a link to government. All right, government policies affect you in one way or the other, whatever you do. All right, like I said earlier, please inform your friends, inform them. Please get them on stage. Inform them, inform your enemies, bring all of them. All right, so your enemies don't even know that, you don't even know if it is in this class that they will become your friends. They will change from their bad ways to good ways. Okay, so inform your friends in class, inform your colleagues. Okay, those people that know that okay, they're offering government, and those people that know that okay, want to know about government. All right, want to know about government, bring them in, inform them, and trust me, as time goes by, as time goes by, you're going to be doing great and awesome things. Like I said, you're going to bring in diagrams. Now, I talk about levels of government or various organs of government. There's a diagram I can show you. I don't need to pronounce or tell you that this is what it means. So looking at the diagram, you capture the picture, then you link it up with a particular aspect of government. And oh, this is what we're talking about. All right. God bless you guys. Stay safe.
Thank you, Mr. Alvin, for that wonderful section again in government. We really appreciate, and we hope to see you more often. And to the students, we appreciate you are in for us and for yourself, of course. This is for you, and we hope you make good use of it. And please try to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tell your friends, share, like, comment, promote us, let us have the zeal, more of it, to give it to you. And of course, as the tutor has rightly said, try to talk to your friends, your classmates, your schoolmates to register for this. It is free. It is free. We are not collecting a dime from you. It is free. So we appreciate this. We give you, we pray that your exams, you have a good cause to show that you have benefited from this class. Okay, if you want to subscribe to our YouTube channel, it is very easy. If you don't know our YouTube channel is JCSF Education Cafe. We also provide a link to students who has registered. So just click on the link, you go to YouTube, then when you play the video on YouTube, you will see an icon. You just click on the subscribe icon. You'll be subscribed to the channel. It's very easy. Then you also click on the notification button so that each time we upload videos, you'll be able to see them. Thank you once again. By now, we'll be ending the class. We hope to see you next time. Bye.
Thank you very much. Yeah, stay safe, sir.